Let's bring in our panelists now. Executive Director, Concerned Veterans for America, and a Marine Corps and Navy veteran, John Vick, with us today. And President of Project Sentinel, retired U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer. Guys, it's great to have you both
Bianca.
with us. I think one of the main takeaways, obviously, is the White House Secretary of War Hegseth saying they're going to dominate all control over Iran, no capabilities in the coming days, hours, weeks. I'll start with you, Lieutenant Colonel Shaffer. This obviously isn't yet, so we're seeing some of the missiles still going off. What would you remark on where we are tonight and compared to where we were just a few days ago?
Well, the Iranian systems continue to be degraded to the point of where I think by this time Saturday, there'll be no effective launching of missiles. We've they had about 400 TELs, the launchers. They're down to less than 100, and they're just running out anyway. They just can't launch them. Secondly, one of the things that's gone underreported is the fact we're going back to something called gravity bombs using legacy systems. We have F-15Es, which were designed in the 70s, and B-52s designed to have anything coming up to challenge them. And again, these are old aircraft. We're getting away from having to use the high-tech, highly expensive technology that John Huddy was just talking about to things that cost a fraction of those systems and are just as effective. So things are going very well. It's not over yet, but I think all things considered, we're not talking about 4 weeks. We're probably talking about another 4 to 5 days.
John, let me bring you in here, and let's talk about who's still alive. President Trump, calling the Kurds. They may be called in to fight, there in the Iraq border. The son of Khamenei reportedly survived, 56 years old. Israel saying he's a target for elimination. So there's a vacuum of power. A lot of questions about who's surviving day by day. What would you be looking for when it comes to either clerics who are gathering to start this vote or the people who are pretty loud and boisterous on X saying that they are still there and obviously trying to assert and flex to their domestic audience in Iran?
Well, yeah, these are now the red shirts from Star Trek, right? Anybody who's in a position of power now basically has a target on their back. And we've seen already, again, month after month, year after year, the Israeli Mossad, their intelligence services, really being able to reach out and touch anybody in power in Iran that they want. And we've also just seen, too, looking at the status of Iran's integrated air defense systems and also their offensive capabilities, they're flailing. You just saw Iran reach out and strike Turkey for no conceivable reason. You saw that they reached out. They tried to strike, they struck Cyprus, right? And that caused Great Britain to start to move their assets into the theater. So you have Iran that is flailing, that doesn't really know exactly what to do, that speaks to their lack of leadership and just how shallow the bench has gotten.
Yeah, let's go a little bit deeper. Glad you brought up that Turkey says NATO air defenses destroyed an Iranian ballistic missile. There was also a report that Aragachi in Iran called Doha Qatar and the prime minister there because oops, they're firing into Doha. Qatar was one of their allies. Listen, the weakened, isolated Iran continues to make mistakes. Of course, the biggest one was not trying to take the deal when President Trump still had it on the table. Tony, what do you think of this move with the Kurdish opposition forces? Caroline Leavitt was asked about this at the White House press briefing. She says there's been a number of phone calls with people. But is this really an interesting sort of angle as we look to see how there is an uprising? Because the people are unarmed. But if they get arms to the Kurds, they won't be.
Well, we've had a very effective relationship with the Kurds. We have a base in Erbil. They were our primary proxy during the fight against ISIS back in 2017 and 18. The by, with, and through strategy that my friend General Joe Dunford, the then chairman, used to defeat them. And by the way, also General Kane was part of that, just saying. So I don't think this is a new concept. I think it's one which has merit. Obviously, the Turks are going to be concerned about anything we do with the Kurds because they are very concerned about where the Kurds might go. With that said, they are an effective fighting force that we could probably direct into Iran if we need to do some sort of a ground operation. Yeah. I do believe, based on everything I'm hearing, we do not intend on putting our boots on the ground. Doesn't mean we couldn't use an effective proxy to do that.
All right, John, pick up on that. good thing is President Trump keeps everybody sort of in the mix. So he has an isolated Erdogan. He knows how to do the diplomatic dance, even with people that are our adversaries, hence going over to see Xi in China. But where we go from here, unfortunately, members of Congress in about an hour will vote on this war powers, which is just another narrative in all of this that American people are going to be listening to. And we know Elizabeth Warren and others have said that there's no strategy. Well, it seems like the strategy is they can't get a nuke, and they're not getting a nuke. Your final thoughts?
I think it really speaks to how critical it is that the administration explain the end state and exactly what success looks like. I mean, I've been in the military for 23 years. I'm still in the reserve, on the Marine Corps and the Navy. It's amazing just how successful this military operation has been. That being said, we're still at about 60% of Americans that are leaning negative on this. So I think that it's very critical that the Trump administration say, look, here's exactly how long it's going to go. Here's when we will have succeeded and when the troops are going to come home. I think that without that, you're not going to have the popular support that you need. And frankly, Congress getting involved, talking about the war powers resolution and putting some guardrails on this, I think that is Congress's place. And the better job that the Trump administration does communicating that to Congress, the better that is going to go for the administration and for our troops in harm's way.
Yeah, well, Secretary Rubio, John Ratcliffe, and others, a lot of them spending a lot of time on the Hill this week trying to explain exactly what's been going on. We know the world is a safer place, and hopefully Iranians will be free and leading to a better life for all of them in the world. John Vick, Tony Shaffer, appreciate you both, gentlemen.